Hey there, Squirrel Army. How's it going? Today I want to talk about the top dog theory and how we can apply it in EDH.
You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing.
Alrighty, so what is the top dog theory? So basically, this is like a cliche kind of theory, I guess, that is an older kind of theory about like like the perspective of dominance in relationships and whatnot. So the idea is obviously there is one top dog, one alpha male kind of thing, this whole idea, and the rest is beta, theta, whatever, etc. So everyone wants to be the top dog, i.e., in Commander, you want to be the one that's winning the game or going to win the game. That's the kind of idea. You want to be in control of the game for the most part. You want to be the dominant one, being able to just, usurp your power onto everyone else and just be winning the game. Everyone wants to be doing that, but not everyone can be doing that. And that's where this theory comes into play. So what you want to do as the players that aren't the alpha dog or top dog or whatever you want to call it, is to try to take down the person that is the top dog. And when you're the top dog, it's one of those things you've got to try to hold on to that lead, which can be incredibly difficult because, again, you've got three people coming after you for the most part and trying to take you down. So when you're the top dog, it's very difficult to stay at the top. The person who's the quote-unquote top dog changes a lot throughout the game and often changes very quickly throughout the game because, again, the game is very fluid and anything can kind of happen at any time. And when you're the top dog, to me, my perspective of playing that role, even though I don't get to play it very much, but when you play that role, you don't want to just fight or get into fight with people that aren't almost or coming towards your pure adversary. You don't want to just bully the people that are sitting there going, cool, I can barely play the game or whatnot, whatever. Because it's not going to be fun for them and it's not going to be any fun for you realistically to an extent. It's not even that useful, really. You're wasting your time and wasting your energy and wasting your resources on dealing with the people that, yes, maybe in a few turns the game might change, and they might be a bigger threat to you, but you need to be dealing with the person that is almost your pure adversary. You need to be dealing with that person as much as what you can because, again, they're the most likely to overtake you. They're the closest person to you. So you want to take them down to a manageable level. You don't want to just eliminate people from playing the game or whatnot. I know some people like doing that, but I don't think that that's a fun way to play the game. I just want to be able to play the game with everyone and everyone have fun. But again, I know that's not everyone's perspective and they just want to win or whatnot. And I get that that's a strategy and, it is a strategy based game. So again, that's fine. But again, when you're saying, well, who am I most worried about? You're most worried about the person, or you should be most worried about the person that you can't deal with, or you will find it harder to deal with. You shouldn't be worried about the person that's sitting over there missing their land drops for 4 or 5 turns or whatever it is. You shouldn't be worrying about the person that's sitting there going, cool, all I've got is, random 1/1s or whatever it is that don't really do anything. Or all I've got is, 10 lands for the last 10 turns and I don't have anything else. Yeah, sure, once I find something to play, I can play it, but, that's not really going to be that important for the most part. They might have a sudden burst of a turn, but then they'll be back to where they were, and even if they have that burst of a turn, they're probably still just dead. Like, if they just top deck Craterhoof and just slam it, well, that was cool, but really, did it actually do that much? Like, honestly, like, no, it didn't, because, like, if they swing out with it, now they haven't got their blocker. So now you can just kill them, like, again. So it's not that big of a thing for them to get something like that off the top. Yes, sure, they can get other things again, I know, but still, it's one of those things when you're thinking about, like, some of the worst case scenarios sometimes, it can be like that. But again, it's one of those things when everyone is at a kind of even playing field, it can be very hard to figure this sort of stuff out, who's actually in front. And you've got to start looking at, well, what's the potential of this player's deck, or what are they trying to kind of do based on the cards that they've got, the commander, etc., blah, 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 that kind of thing. What kind of card draw do they have, etc.? What kind of mana ramp do they already have, or had, or whatever? How many lands have they already had, or whatnot? This sort of thing. So, how much interaction have they played? All these sorts of different factors could sort of come into this. But again, when you're looking at somebody and they're doing a lot, their turn is taking 5 to 10 minutes, and the other two people's turns is taking like literal seconds, or maybe a minute at the most, then it's clear who, is the player that's doing the most. And maybe those other players might be sandbagging a little bit. Who knows? You never know what people are kind of doing. But again, you can't predict that. You've really got to predict with what's on the field and what kind of open mana people have got and that sort of thing. So again, you've really got to be on your toes with everything. And it is tough again, because sometimes you're like, well, I've been sitting here for 5 turns, and this person's had Smothering Tithe for frickin' forever, and I've been paying it forever, basically. But I haven't been able to do anything because I've been playing for, that. And plus, I haven't hit a land drop in 4 or 5 turns or whatever it's been. So, I'm sick of that. I'm sick of paying for it. They're going to get ahead for me not paying for it. But I have to do something. I can't sit here and continue to not play my cards because it's going to give them an advantage. I've got to try to get my stuff out so I can actually start playing my game plan. I can't care that I have to, give them 1 mana or 2 mana or a card draw or whatever. Now, there are times that it's a little bit harder and whatnot, but again, it's one of those things, like, especially like when you're generating treasures. Like, if you're generating lots of treasures, you're like, well, but I don't want to use those treasures. I want to find the thing that lets me just tap my treasures as if they're mana rocks and whatnot, not just sack them, because as soon as I sack them, they're gone. I'm not going to get them back for the most part, or it's going to be an arduous journey for me to get them back. But anyway, that kind of thing does focus into what you're kind of trying to do in taking down that person that is the top dog. And this is just one of those kind of almost etiquette things about EDH as well, that, again, like, when you're playing, you want to be, like, going, well, what's this person over here actually doing? Is what they're doing actually all that threatening to me? No, not really. Maybe I will chip in against them if they have the Monarch or the Initiative or something else, but I might say, hey, to them, I just want the Initiative, or I just want the Monarch. Do you want to make a kind of a deal? I won't attack you with very much. I'll just attack you with my random 1/1. If you'll let it through and let me get the Initiative, then that's all I'll do to you, that kind of thing. But again, when you're, like, your main focus should be on the people that are, like, again, the people that you need to worry about. Like, even if you're in last place or in second to last place, or whatnot, you need to be focused on the player that is second as well. You need to realize, well, as soon as we take down the person that is first, that person that is second is now going to be first. So now we need to worry about them. Now we need to shift our focus to this other person because we can't let them get too far ahead either, because otherwise they're just going to get so far out of our reach that we're not going to be able to take them down. And again, will that other person that was in first actually help us out? Maybe not, because we were all working together to take them down just a minute before, but that is kind of the game. It's the king-making game sometimes. You're just trying to get yourself into that position of being made the king at the very end. And that's the back and forth and the fun of what I like about EDH. You don't know who's going to wind up on top of the dog pile kind of thing. And anything can kind of happen, and that's the fun of it. I don't like games where somebody just dominates the entire game and no one else really has a chance. And it's one of those things when you have that deck that is kind of popping off to a degree, in a sense, or not even that, like it's just doing better than everyone else's deck. Like, my deck actually did something. Oh, wow, okay, cool. Now I'm ahead. Oh, okay, so what am I going to do now? Like, my deck isn't that far ahead that I can actually pressure people or actually really do that much with my deck. So even though I am the top dog in a sense, yeah, that is facts, but like the things that I'm doing are going to be really slow. So honestly, my deck is nowhere near the point at which I can attack into anyone or do anything meaningful with what slight upper hand of a board state I might have. So again, there's not much point in me trying to press that advantage too much, because again, that advantage isn't going to last. So I really need to set up for the long game, in a sense, but I don't want to just sit there and do nothing, because again, you know, people, and I will also be like, well, you know, this game's moving along, you can't just not move it along, you know, and again, if you're that person, it's very hard, because again, the bias will be to be like, oh, but you were ahead before and all this. Yeah, but so what? This person's ahead now. And you're not ahead, so we've got to take that person down. Oh, but you might, yeah, I might get ahead, but then you can take me down. You know, like, I don't understand the perspective of people who are like, oh, but if I help you take this person down, you might get ahead. Yeah, but again, like, you could just take me down again, or whatever, you know, like, don't worry about if I get ahead, because you might get ahead, you know, like, I know that I think about that sometimes too, but it's just one of those things like, oh, hope they don't get too far ahead or whatnot from me helping them. But, you know, like, whatever it is, I'll have to just deal with it when it comes up or when it comes around to that point, because, you know, I've got to deal with this person in one way or another, and sometimes it takes that double team, triple team, whatever thing to do over a couple of turns or whatnot for you to actually take that person down a couple of pegs so that you can actually get within range of actually doing something within that game, because otherwise that other person is just going to dominate the whole game again. So it's I like the back and forth. I do like some politics. I don't like it when some politics kind of become too personal or become too distracting from the game or whatnot and things like that. And I don't really like getting too far off track. I want to, you know, make sure it's all flowing right and whatnot. No one's really like disinterested or whatever, and it is tough to do that as well, but it's just one of those things that sometimes you get those turns and you're just kind of going, well, can't really do a whole lot, and, you know, well, what am I going to do? And you haven't got very many options, so you've just got to kind of do what you can do as best as what you can. And yeah, like, again, it's one of those things. So that is pretty much it here. I really like this whole theory, and I really apply it to my own games quite a bit. I don't know whether that many people like really apply it. Like, I think they do, but they don't really know what it's kind of called. I don't even think that this is quite the right term in a sense for it, but I think, when you hear it, it makes sense, kind of thing. And again, like, I'm just making this as a suggestion, as I say, but it's just one of those things that I do feel like it's part of the etiquette in a way. You want to let, especially when you're playing a much more powerful deck than the other people at the table, let them have their fun. Like, I've done that many times where I've played my deck and I've just gone, oh shit, I've drawn my combo out of nowhere or whatever. But I'm playing people who have precon decks. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not going to play it, I'm just period not going to play it because I want these other people to be able to have a fun time and I don't want to just win that way quite yet. And if they're a real threat to me at some point in this game or whatnot, then I can play the combo. Or if they're looking like they're going to win, well, I can just play the combo and, do my thing, hopefully, or at least try to, And again, you've got to try to explain these sorts of things to new people and say, now, I don't think you guys probably understand how this works, but let me explain how it works, just to let you know that this is in fact a combo and whatnot, so that, this is clear. Now, okay, that's still on the stack. Does anyone actually have any responses? Because otherwise, I will just go infinite, making it clear that, well, this is the end of the game now, guys. Basically, for the most part. Once I untap, that's it, or whatever. Or even so, I can just do other things to make the game basically unplayable for everyone else. So it basically is game over one way or the other. And again, yeah, there won't be much of a game left at this point. So again, yeah, has anyone got responses? So again, it's one of those things about the game state and whatnot. We're all a part of it. It's all an organic thing. We're all people and we all want a good time. And that's it. Like, again, everyone has different ideas of what a good time is to a degree, and you've got to pull yourself down. And like I said before in that video about, taking feedback and whatnot, I see so many people that don't take that feedback and don't listen to other people's thoughts about the way that they play their more powerful decks when they come to a table and whatnot. But yet, for some reason, people still play and I don't, because I'm just like, well, I'm sick of it because, well, I can't be bothered anymore because you don't listen to me or anyone else saying, hey, your decks are way too powerful and you always do this crap, and whatnot. But anyway, those are my thoughts and whatnot. You can let me know your thoughts. Write them down there in the comments below. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Hope you'll join me for some more.